Okay, no worries. So, Shaun and Renee, welcome. So the reason why obviously we wanted to get you in today is to learn a little bit more about yourselves and what your role is at the Local Guys. So maybe we'll start off with that. Can you tell us what your role is at the Local Guys and what that sort of entails?
Yeah, no problem. So my role at the Local Guys is the Pest Control Divisional.
Yep.
So what that entails is obviously overseeing the Pest Control Division, training the new guys that come on board, being there as that support for the guys that are already in their business, basically just making sure everything runs smoothly for them.
Yep. Perfect. No worries. So Shaun and Renee, you're obviously husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So partnership in this endeavour, which is great.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about your guys. How long have you been together for and stuff like that? So we've got a bit of background.
Yeah, no problem. So been together since high school.
Yep.
So the year 2000, so 23 years. Married for... Do you want to have a guess at this one, Renee?
Married for 14 years.
14 years.
Yep.
Yeah, that checks out.
Beautiful.
Three young boys. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, beautiful. So if I understand you correctly, essentially your role at the Local Guys is to support new franchise partners who are looking at joining or interested in joining the Local Guys in the Pest Control Division, and then to provide support to any franchise partners that have gone to assist them in growing their business. That's basically how it works.
So they're brand new into the industry, so
Yep.
very green. So it's my job basically to enrich them with my knowledge and ensure that they're living up to the Local Guy standards and basically performing, good pest control work out there.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. No worries. And what about you, Renee? What's your role within all of this?
So my role is I get to have a bit of a chat with potential people coming on board.
Yep.
Get to know them. Get to talk to them about how we are, how we've started.
So you're that first point of call for when someone's interested
Definitely.
in joining Local Guys?
And just tell them our story and basically see how they go from there.
Yep. Okay, no worries. Perfect. And could you maybe tell us, maybe if you can start, Renee, and then we'll hear from you, Shaun. What were you doing before you started this pest control journey? What was your former life like?
Hairdressing.
Yeah.
So clearly,
perfect.
Always good for a chat.
Perfect.
Love to chat.
Yeah. No, I couldn't think of a better way to get understanding of being able to chat with people. That's great.
Yeah.
No worries. And what about you, Shaun?
So basically, straight out of high school, my first job was at Elizabeth Holden Manufacturing Facility.
Yep.
So being on the assembly line.
Yep.
Helped building the Commodore and the Cruise. And
How long did you do that for?
I was there for 14 years.
Wow.
Until that went bust and was forced to look for a new job.
Yep. So Holden's, for those that don't know, is a huge employer here in South Australia. When did Holden's close up?
That'd have to be 8 or 9 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how was that? I mean, you've been there a long time. How did that sort of... Can you tell us a little bit about that experience at that time of your guys' lives? And I understand, pretty good money there. They looked after you pretty well. An ex-Holden's guy myself, not quite as long as you, but I was there for a few years. So, can you tell us a little bit about that experience when that came up?
No problem. So, obviously it was a little bit daunting in the beginning, being told that you're going to lose your job.
Yep.
Especially in something that, as you said, is so well paid and comfortable. It's easy just to, ride that wave for as long as you can.
Yeah.
But it was a blessing in disguise for me because I was always looking for something else, but didn't have the guts to get out there and do something.
Yeah.
And this sort of pulled the trigger for me. So I actually saw it in a different light. That it was a good move for myself.
Okay. So talk us through that time. So this announcement's come out. How were you told?
A lot of it you heard through the news, rumours. We sort of knew that it was coming a long way out, but it just gradually grew in numbers by how many they were going to let go at a time. It sort of was, there were 3 shifts there, then it was going to go down to 2, eventually 1. And we were pretty confident that we'd be staying on the 1 shift there. But then eventually that got...
Because they were running 24 hours there.
Yeah, 24 hours, yeah.
So it was, a day, an afternoon and a night shift.
Correct, yeah. So, a big operation. So, and being an Australian icon like the Commodore, you didn't think that was ever going to die. So it sort of did come...
you thought, yeah.
It sort of did come as a bit of a shock. But, like I said, it was a blessing in disguise for myself.
Yep. So they tell you, you can see the writing on the wall a little bit. They're starting to reduce the night shift, starting to reduce the afternoon shift, and then you can see, all right, this is the writings on the wall.
Yep.
So what's the thought process for yourselves at that point? You're thinking you got to find something else, obviously. How did you come to the conclusion of, do I want to, why didn't you just go get another job, I guess is the question.
Yeah, well, basically, so we got given a redundancy package for leaving Holden.
Yep.
So we had a little bit of money, depending on how long you'd been there. So we had some money to spend or to bank. We had to decide what we're going to do with that. I could have quite easily just gone and got another job and maybe kept that money and put that towards the mortgage or something like that. But we had a discussion about it. And I really didn't want to get back into another dead-end job.
Yeah.
I wanted to invest this money. I wanted to do something with it. So I saw it as an opportunity to invest in myself instead of taking the safe way out and just investing it back into a mortgage or something like that.
Yeah. So you said another dead-end job. So is that how you sort of saw what you were doing at the time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You didn't require any sort of prior skills or knowledge to become a worker in that type of industry. And there was ways that you could work up through the ranks, I suppose, but you would eventually get to a point where that would stop. You need extra education to get any further.
Yeah. So you sort of thought where you're at, kind of where it's going to be for the most people. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So how was that for you, Renee, at that time when you hear about this? Obviously, Shaun's bringing in a good chunk of the income for the for the family household. How do you process that?
Yeah, it is stressful at the start, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how quick he's going to be told, all right, see you later, you've got the tap on the shoulder, you're out first one.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a little bit of a stress for a while there, but as soon as Shaun looked at it that way, in a positive way, I knew that he was going to make the right decision.
Yep.
And I think it was a good move for him, because like you said, he was just stuck in a mundane job, just doing the same thing day in, day out, didn't really have any drive, so doing this for him.
So the conversation happens obviously at some point between the two of you, and you're saying that you want to put your money into something where you can, potentially grow something for yourself and, have a crack at something else.
Yeah.
So then how does pest control come into that equation? There's a million different businesses, a million different franchises that you could look at doing. How did you come across, how did it end up becoming pest control? What was the thing that was ticked enough boxes for you to move forward with that?
Yeah, so obviously I was looking for, I decided that we were going to look into something that I could possibly work for myself and make a career working for myself instead of answering to a boss. I could become that boss. So that's the type of path that we went down, and then it was a matter of choosing the industry.
Yeah.
So what we looked into was actually plays a big part in this is the people that you know.
Yeah.
So the advice that you get from friends and family.
Yep.
So one of my uncles was actually a pest controller.
Yep.
We talked to him a little bit about pest control. Obviously yourself was in a service-based industry. You told me the pros and cons about service-based industries.
Yep.
So basically I just went through the service-based industries and sort of had a look at what industry I think would fit for myself.
Why service-based?
Service-based for me, the big part about choosing that would be the repeat business, the low cost involved in running a business and the high profit margins.
Yep.
But the number one thing is that service-based is a repeat industry. So there's that cash revenue always coming in. If you do your job correctly, there should always be a revenue there.
So like right now, for example, you've got a business where you've brought your brother into the business. Obviously, yourself and Renee are in the business, and I know that you've got a very successful business, and we struggle to send work your way, let alone get stuff in because you're quite booked out. Yeah. So
exactly why I decided to get into it. That repeat business, but then pest control, I decided down that avenue because it's something I looked at is always going to be there. There's always going to be a need for pest control. It's not something that is going to be taken over by a robot. It's going to be something that's be required. There will always be pests, so people will always have issue with pests. So that was a big part that played in it as well.
I guess one of the one true global services that's just doesn't even matter what it is. It has to be done. I think even
exactly.
It's that's fantastic. Okay, cool. So had some family members, had some friends that were kind of in the industry, pointed you in the right direction. Service base seemed like so ticked a lot of boxes for you. So you then didn't know that industry at all. You've joined another franchise, one of the bigger pest control franchises around. How long were you with them for?
So I was there with them for 7 years. I can't say a bad word about my experience with them. They taught me all the knowledge that I needed to know, and I bring into my business today. So it was a really great experience. I enjoyed my time there. Yeah,
great, fantastic. Okay, so 7 years in, and the business is pumping along and all the rest of it. So before we go any further, how did you find work-life balance, or just life in general, really, I suppose, like coming from being at Holden's, where I know you're on a production line, you're pumping out 300 plus vehicles a shift. You got to put your hand up to go to the toilet, literally, because otherwise the vehicles just keep going past, and no one's putting that part on or doing that part to it. How did that sort of differ from now being a small business owner and doing your own thing?
Oh, obviously it's a lot different. You're your own boss, so you can pick and choose the days and the times that you work. What I really enjoy about it is that I'm able to make my life work around work and not the other way around. Previously, your set times that you have to be at Holden, so therefore if your knock-off time was past the school knock-off time, you didn't have the opportunity to go pick up the kids from school. Where now I don't. If I want to pick up the boys from school, I don't book in jobs around that time and ensure that I'm there for them. I'm there for their
sports days,
parent-teacher
interviews.
Exactly.
So I'm sure a lot of people, like specifically people that are listening to this podcast, would want to know more about that because they might be doing some due diligence or doing whatever and seeing if it's the right fit for them. So what does a typical day look like in your household? How does it work? How does your typical day look like when you're at work, when you get home, all that side of things? Or just give us
basically
warts and all, give us everything.
No problem. So we get up in the morning to get the boys ready for school. We get ready for work ourselves. We take the boys to school. Renee will take the boys to school more often than not. We leave the house at the same time. So if Renee isn't able to do that, I'm more than capable of doing that also. And then basically I get into my day. I've already had my day scheduled out, so I already know what time I'm going to finish. If boys have trainings on certain days, I ensure that I'm not working any later than I need to. And I just move that into the next day. That's what I love about it, is that flexibility. So I can have that day look any way that I want. So every day it can be different. It works, like, as I said, it works around my life and not the other way around now.
And what about weekends or any of that sort of things? Because I know you have sport commitments. How does, because pests can come at any time. It could come at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So how does your life work in with that side of things?
So honestly, I try not to work any weekends if possible. On the rare occasion and emergencies, I can go and help out a client, and I have done that in the past. But more often than not, a client will be able to. It's not an urgent matter that needs addressing there and then, they can wait till Monday.
Yeah.
Where I can get to it on Monday. I try not to work at all on the weekends. That's my family time.
Yep. No, that's completely fair, and I know that where you're at in your business, you know, we've got other, like I see it as a spectrum, and we've got franchisees on different parts of that spectrum, and you're obviously quite an experienced and far down the path on the spectrum, so you're able to be at that point where you can kind of you don't need to work weekends, or other guys that are just coming in and, you know, that have just paid a bunch of money for the franchise and maybe a new vehicle and all this sort of stuff. They might want to collect. We've got some franchise partners here that just want everything they can possibly get. So.
And that also comes down to each and every individual. Some people like working on the weekends.
Yeah.
That's up to them.
Yep.
They can work on the weekend if they like.
Yep.
They run their business however they like.
And I guess that's the beautiful thing about the franchise over, you know, if you're an employee, if they need that coverage over a Saturday and Sunday, you're on a rotating Saturday, Sunday shift, and it just is what it is. You got to work, basically. Yeah. So you get the benefits, but you also get the downside as well. So, you know, like it's whatever works in with your lifestyle.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No worries. So obviously now, like, what prompted you to make the transition over to the local guys? I guess you've got this business that's pumping along. You've been doing it for 7 years, and then you've looked at transitioning out to join the local guys. Talk me through that thought process and how that was decided between yourself and Renee, and
Yeah, okay. So, well, in the initial stages, quite frankly, it was Jared that come to me that said, why don't you expand what you're doing? You've got the knowledge now to push even further.
Yep.
You've sort of gone down the same path yourself. You had a vision, explained the vision to myself.
Yep.
Renee and I weighed up the options, whether that was right for us to go down that path.
Yep.
And we agreed that it was time to expand, share knowledge, help other people grow, basically.
Yeah. No, definitely. And how have you, like, because for me that's one of my favourite parts about being in the role that I'm in now is, you know, you get these new franchise partners that come on board and they risk everything on you, like onto your back, basically, and they're like, yep, you know, I'm putting all my faith into you. And I've been a franchisee a couple of times before as well, so I know the exact feeling of doing it and just going, here's a bunch of money and here's this and I'm quitting this job that might be paying whatever it's paying, and I've still got, you know, liabilities, and I've still got expenses, and I still might have a mortgage and all this other sort of stuff, and I've just got to trust the process.
Exactly. It's
a whole different kind of emotions,
isn't it?
It's exciting, it's scary, it's everything mixed into one.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's a good way.
That's what makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
You
just got to look at it that you can make anything work.
Yeah.
You've got it there. You've got the tools there. You've got support there.
Yep.
It can happen.
Yeah. And I know, like, that's one of the most rewarding things on my end is, you know, we've seen like even one of your franchise partners comes to mind who's, you know, had a huge first month and just came in and was just, you know, basically just completely overwhelmed, and he's just
with
like,
emotion.
It's just basically gave me the biggest bear hug ever, and
because he had all those apprehensions in the start about taking the plunge and whether this risk was going to be worth it or not. And after seeing results after that first month, he could not have been happier.
And we're going to get him on. We're trying to get him on, and we'll get him to tell us his story.
He's got a good story.
Yeah.
And I think because we can actually relate to where they're coming from as well. So we know what it's like to start out. We know the nerves and things like that. So I think people actually get that from us as well. They understand that we're not just...
You're real people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think that comes through massively. I think if you're just this big corporation or you're this big... just pumping out franchisees like a machine, it comes through very quickly. So I think being just real people, and we're all just trying to, high tide raises all boats, and it's just about, that's the concept here, is we all sort of rise by the same sort of hard work together. So
that's what I love about it, is that family team environment.
Yeah.
Where we're all in this together.
Yeah, yeah. So, tell me, what would you say to what do you think makes the most successful franchise partners when they come on? Like, what's the sort of things that you're looking for when you're talking with people when they're still a franchise candidate, and you can go, yeah, that one's going to be fantastic, or that one's, we're going to have to mold a bit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are those sorts of things that sort of pop up in your guys' eyes that
It's probably a really good one for you to answer. You're the
Yeah,
first point of
the one that
contact.
talks to them all.
Yeah, yeah.
I think people skills as well.
Yep.
How you talk on the phone. Yeah, you're not a fake person. I had one franchise partner that I was talking to, and we were talking about football for most of the conversation as well.
Yep.
And just that general chit chat, and just to feel comfortable. I think that was great.
Yeah.
I loved that. They
people business,
Yeah, they
isn't it?
didn't feel they had to answer with fake questions.
Yeah.
Just be who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Anybody that can hold a conversation, come across as a friendly, honest type person,
Yeah.
they're the ones that are going to thrive.
Because we can
willing
teach
to learn.
skills.
Yeah.
And we can teach skills. We've just been recording 4K HD training videos. We've got all that online. We've got access to you hold their hand through the onboarding process. All of our licensing and all that sort of process is all there. The ongoing support's there. It's just having someone that you can teach skills. You can't teach attitude.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
Definitely.
I agree.
Completely agree. Okay, no worries. So now we're in multiple states already, and we're growing rapidly. What do you think you enjoy most about the role?
About the role is dealing with different personalities.
Yeah.
One of the things in the beginning that I was sick and tired of about Holden was the mundaneness of it.
Yep.
In this role, each and every day is different. There's a new task. There's always different problems to solve.
Yep.
So it's exactly that. It's that making, feeling alive, basically.
Yep.
Not being stuck in a rut and helping people out. I love being able to. The new franchisees come to me with issues that they've come across, and being able to help them through that.
So that leads me on to my next question. And what sort of support, like for someone who's coming from the outside looking in, how does that support look? Like, how do you provide support to people, and to your franchise partners?
Well, so the number one thing would be being available. So whenever they run into an issue, all they've got to do is pick up the phone, and I'll be there. If not right there and then, as quick as possible.
Yeah.
They'll send me through text messages, pictures, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm there to help them out that way.
Yeah.
So that's the first point. But the second point would be ongoing support would be like making contact with the franchisees on a regular basis.
Yep.
Just checking in,
Yep.
seeing how they're going. I understand what it's like to run a business, especially in those early days, and how stressful it can be.
Yep.
So even just somebody to be there to lend an ear to talk to.
Yeah.
I think that's, if you went at it alone, you don't have that support.
Yeah.
That's what my role is, to be there for them and help them through those tough times.
Yep. Yeah. And I know, Renee, you help a lot with the admin side of things, and whether it's licensing and all that sort of stuff as well. So they've got sort of the technical side, which I think is more Shaun's side, and then your side for the back of house.
Yeah,
stuff
definitely.
as well.
And I'm the same. If they can't get hold of Shaun, look, they can pick up the phone and give me a call. If I don't have the answer, obviously I'm not a technical side of things,
Yep.
but I will do my best to help them out and just provide my support from them as well.
Yep.
So they know that, they can call either one of us.
Yep.
And we're there for them.
Perfect. No worries. So what do you think your biggest achievement has been so far in this whole crazy journey to where you guys are now, and where you're going with the business and all the rest of it? What do you think your biggest achievement is to date?
Probably bringing on my first franchisee.
Yeah.
I didn't think that I'd ever play that role at all.
Yep.
Even when we agreed to come on board to step into this role, there's still that apprehension. It's just like beginning your own business all over again. There's that self-doubt.
Yeah.
But then seeing that first person come through and be successful straight away, that's that's my biggest achievement, I'd say.
I remember
First one that I spoke to more than anything.
I remember when Shaun was training up the first couple of guys, and I think we were talking on the phone.
Yeah.
And we were saying, it's they're hanging off every word he's saying.
Yeah.
Because to Shaun, it doesn't seem like that big of information.
Exactly.
But to them, he's got this plethora.
Yeah. And I've
knowledge.
always tried to push him to say, I believe that you can do it. You have to believe that you can do it. He was never a talker like myself. I can talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But watching those guys actually listen to him and take it all on board, I think he really felt that as well.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see him actually believe in himself.
And now it's just like...
And now it's just second nature.
We've got new franchisees starting next week, and it's just like... Business as usual.
Get him in front of the camera as always.
Yeah. No, it's nothing now, is it? No, that's great. All right, cool. So we're just finishing up now. I think the last 2 questions I've got is where do you see the pest control division heading over the next 10 years? Where can you see it going to, and what sort of things? Where do you see the direction of it?
Yeah, so I guess what we were just talking about, my biggest achievement today is bringing on that first one. My next achievement would be to have one in every state.
Yeah,
we want to have the whole of Australia covered, basically. Yep. We want to be able to provide this service Australia-wide.
Yep.
So that would be the next step for us.
Yep. I know national clients is one that works extremely well in the test and tag side of things. So I think that's going to be a great milestone to be able to then provide that national service to a lot of clients.
If we can get that national brand recognition, that we can provide that service Australia-wide, that's only going to benefit the new franchisees that come on board, and we all grow together.
Completely. Yeah, no, I think that's very, very, very true. Last one. What's your favourite pest to deal with?
My favourite pest to deal
with? Is there a favourite?
That's a given, yeah.
My favourite pest, that's a good question. It's pretty hard. There's so much variety. There are my least favourite pest to deal with, but I don't think I really have a favourite pest to deal with. No.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about pest control, isn't it? It's like, we've talked about it a lot in the test and tag side of things, because our job, we've got a few different services we offer. There's a bit of variety there, but pest control is, how many different I don't know.
Services.
How many is there?
We were just going through the videos earlier. I think there's at least 20 different services.
Yeah, and we're still...
And then each and every one of those services can be different each and every day. So,
yeah, it definitely keeps you on your toes, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's what I like about it. It's problem solving.
Yep.
So it keeps that mind ticking over, and it keeps the mind young, I suppose.
Yep. Beautiful. All right. Well, thanks very much for that, guys. I learned a few things, and I think that was hopefully really valuable to a lot of people. So really much appreciate putting you guys on the spot and bringing you in and having a chat.
No worries. Have Renee by herself next time, okay?
Okay. No worries.
No, let's not.